Enough to exclude 40% of the population, not enough to exclude the majority.
But to vote, you must be an owner, and it's not a degree of selection. So
Yes.
for being citizen, you must pay tax, whatever. But to be
Elected.
to be elected, to be elector, you must have a property, a value of about 200 days of work. So it's the election is in the end of the owners, but in fact to be citizen, not to vote, to be
Yes.
citizen. It's a very
Okay.
huge difference. To be citizen, you must pay
Okay.
tax. See, if you don't pay tax, you are not citizen.
You're nothing.
You are nothing.
You're nothing.
That's why Paine say, what's the name?
Yeah, I have another question first for
Yeah.
Matt, and
I have
then
two questions and comments.
yes.
Can you distinguish between feudalism and slavery? And how did the French rationalize slavery in the Caribbean?
The first word was
Feudalism.
feudalism and slavery.
They were constantly against that even with Napoleon. But then they returned to slavery in the 1795 Constitution, at least in the Caribbean. So how do they rationalize that? Yes. Topic for longer discussion.
Okay, so once again, I'm not a specialist of history. I'm like a writer, but to me, feudalism is back from Middle Ages with. You have an owner, a seigneur, who owns lands, and he has his people who own this land, and it's the servage.
Like property.
Yes,
Like property.
but racism is more like
Slavery, not racism.
slavery. Sorry, it's much more to me linked with race, because. The fact of having a plantation, we say plantation as well in English, the fact of having a plantation, the economy of the plantation justifies that we have to deprive a part of the population, black people, non-white people, from their humanity. So it feels like in the Middle Ages there are, I could read a text about that the people, even if it was hard, I'm not saying that it was better to be under feudalism than into slavery, but it feels like when there was a harvest, the people could celebrate the harvest, there were more sharing, and so if you want to go further on that question, maybe the specialist can answer.
My question is, how did they rationalize?
How did they, sorry?
Yeah, we can talk later. How did the French people rationalize going back to approving slavery in whatever form? Forget about race. We can talk later about it. It's a topic for longer discussion.
Because for them, like we had the Code Noir, the Black Code from Louis XIV and then Napoleon. But for them, black people didn't have a soul. And no, Mark said no.
They have a soul, they were Christian.
No, they have a soul, they're Christians. So
Yeah.
They are humans, and they're perfectly human. No, the thing is, to answer his question, it was Napoleon Bonaparte who re-established slavery because the French Revolution had abolished it in 1794. And when Bonaparte wanted to re-establish slavery, he used a very simple argument. We need colonies to be a powerful nation. We need black slaves to work in the colony, so we're going to put back into slavery. It's the only argument that Bonaparte uses at that time. He doesn't say blacks are stupid, blacks are not men. He just say we need blacks to work on the plantation because we need colonies and because we're in competition with England. That's the main argument.
But how did that work for them?
But at that time, there were also racist arguments that they weren't used in the legislative process that established slavery by Bonaparte. But at that time, there were racist works, writings, who said blacks are stupid, they don't have the same skin as, they have a thick skin, they don't feel pain, etc., etc. So it exists, but it wasn't used in the legislative process of
Topic for longer discussion.
And in the Code Noir, slaves were both human, Christian, and things.
Yes.
and they were not black. The code was called Code Noir 50 years later.
Yeah.
The original, the word black is not in the Code Noir.
Okay.
Nowhere. It talks about slaves. Free persons and slaves. But it doesn't mean, obviously, that there were no blacks among the slaves. It only meant that for Louis XIV, the problem was not black or white. The problem was free or slave.
Thank you. And there's a last question.
Yeah, je m'appelle Jean Thomas. I am the first person in history to write a musical on Thomas Paine. And I have been trying to find you for an hour because I was told that you were at Iona College. What have I missed besides all of this fascinating?
It's all recorded.
At the end, I will put on the TV.
En anglais, s'il vous plaît. Si vous y allez le partir.
Yeah, I will show you a part of my creative work because I'm better on creative and that's why I need much more information.
Then you would like to create with me the musical even more.
Yes, why not? Thank you, Jean-Thomas, thank you. And I will show you, because I didn't have the good wires, a part of what has been done so far on the manuscript, the graphic novel, and the documentary film.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break.